He hath put forth his hands against such as be at peace with him. He hath broken his covenant.
We came here and created a blank slate. We birthed a nation from nothing. I mean, there's nothing here. I mean, yes, we have Native Americans, but candidly, that there isn't much Native American culture in American culture.
1812. Is one of the fairest portions of the globe to remain in a state of nature, the haunt of a few wretched savages, when it seems destined by the Creator to give support to a large population and to be the seat of civilization. Interesting, the contrast. There's no civilization here, so we'll bring it. It's not being used, so we'll use it. It seems destined by the Creator.
And they covet fields and take them by violence, and houses and take them away. So they oppress a man and his house, even a man and his heritage.
President Andrew Jackson, in his first message to the Congress, recommended that all Cherokees, Chickasaws, Choctaws, Creeks, and Seminoles be removed westward beyond the Mississippi.
Directing your attention to this map, does this reflect the agreed-upon Indian territory in 1829 shown here in a darker color?
Not exactly. You see, this law had to be changed before it could be enacted. The Mississippi River boundary had to be changed to the 95th meridian right there.
And why was it changed?
Well, at that time, a new wave of white settlers was sweeping westward to form the territories of Iowa and Wisconsin.
And to what do you attribute this apparent disregard for the Indians' rights?
It wasn't disregard. It was widely believed the Indian race was incapable of living side by side with whites.
Can you be more specific?
If I might quote our president, Andrew Jackson, on this. He told the Congress the following: that those tribes cannot exist surrounded by our settlements and in continual contact with our citizens is certain. They have neither the intelligence, the industry, the moral habits, nor the desire of improvement, which are essential for any favorable change in their condition. They must necessarily yield to the force of circumstances and ere long disappear. That's what he said.
And would it be accurate to say that this view of the Indian people was the basis for the government's treaties and manner of dealing with the Indians during your lifetime?
In part, yes.
Andrew Jackson has the ability, they say negotiate treaties, but really to force treaties on these Native Americans and to forcibly remove them with state militias from their homes. And that's what begins to occur as soon as this law is passed. All 5 of the civilized tribes, we're talking about the Choctaw, the Chickasaw, we're talking about the Muscogee Creek, the Seminoles, the Cherokees, are going to be rounded up and at gunpoint sent thousands of miles to these new reservations on federal land, not state land, over in Oklahoma, and that land's going to be taken away also. We have the Treaty of Dancing Rabbit Creek. We have the Treaty of New Ecoto. We have a number of treaties that starts forcing these Native Americans out. The Seminoles, however, would have none of that. They were the only tribe that fought to the end, and thousands of them ended up in the Florida swamps living out their lives, many of them intermarrying with slaves from that area. But the majority of these Native Americans, the 100,000 plus, are going to be put on the Trail of Tears. Thousands of miles to Oklahoma. 1/4 of all Native Americans on the Trail of Tears died on the way from disease, from starvation, from warfare, from being attacked by whites. A really quick story is one of the tribes was crossing the Ohio River in southern Illinois, and the ferry operators were charging these Native Americans $1 a head when they were charging whites 12 cents a head. And there were hundreds of those Native Americans that froze on the side of the river waiting for the ferry because they couldn't afford to cross. But there we go, guys. At this point, by 1838, we have really wiped the Southeast at least, east of the Mississippi, clean of Native Americans, and that land is gobbled up quicker than you can say gobbled up by whites. They actually had lotteries where they were giving this land away to poor whites who wanted that land. So the Native Americans are now pushed off to these reservations, some of the worst land in the country, in the dry, arid, deserty land of Oklahoma where nothing really grows. And then even there, they're going to be pushed farther into the interior with further discoveries of oil and such like that.
Because of unrighteous dealings, injuries, and riches got by deceit, the kingdom is translated from one people to another.
Beware the beast man, for he is the devil's pawn. Alone among God's primates, he kills for sport, or lust, or greed. Yea, he will murder his brother to possess his brother's land. Let him not breed in great numbers, for he will make a desert of his home and yours. Shun him. Drive him back into his jungle lair, for he is the harbinger of death.